Welcome to a training program by Lighthouse Consulting. We'll be talking today about some collector training. We'll talk about how to get full and complete information from the debtor. We'll talk about how to be able to do that with the debtor's cooperation. We'll talk about how that information is going to lead you to ways in which to pay the debt, to get information that is going to help you to get this debt paid. So what is full and complete information? Full and complete information is the financial statement that you draw from the debtor. It's a list of how much he gets paid and what his expenses are. Things like how much is his house payment, how much is his car payment. These types of things will eventually lead you to the collection of the debt. They'll show you ways in which the debtor has the opportunity to pay. So let's get into it. Let's talk about full and complete information. So full and complete information is the info a collector collects from the debtor to contact and make a decision on a repayment offer. In other words, it's the phone numbers to reach the debtor, the current address, employer, salary, and obligation information. The bills owed by the debtor. This is what the full and complete information is. So let's talk about how this is going to help us. First of all, let's talk about a list of what really is the quality information that a debtor or a collector should actually gather from the debtor. We're talking about current address, phone number, a second phone number. We're talking about the employer, the employer's address, and the employee's phone number. We're talking about the salary that the debtor makes. We're talking about everything that is involved in this debtor's cash flow. We're talking about his rent payment, his car payment, his electricity, any other income that he may have. These are the things that we want to discuss, that we want to get from the debtor in regards to full and complete information. So once we have this, that we're trying to get this information from the debtor, I guess the next question is, how do we get this information? This information is not always voluntarily given by the debtor, but a good collector has the ability of asking questions in a manner in which that he can get this information from the debtor, from taking control of the conversation. One thing is for sure, if you don't ask for the information, you'll surely never receive it. The good collector will always be able to get this information from the debtor. They'll be able to provide good reasons as to why the debtor should provide this information. If the debtor is interested in making some type of payment arrangement, if they are wanting to talk about the resolution of this account, then it should be easy enough to give this information. It is the same information they gave when they got the credit card or they applied for the credit. It's very similar information, so it's not something that they're unaccustomed to doing. In addition, almost every debtor and every consumer is used to updated information. If you call now about your cell phone, which may be up to date, the first thing they're going to do is ask you, is this a common number to reach you at? Is this still a good address? They still want to update that information. This is something that the consumer is very used to, and a good collector should be able to provide this information. Hopefully within your system there is a place to store this information so it can be looked at not only by you but by the next collector or anyone else who might look at the account. The collector that makes an offer of repayment without the proper data is likely leaving money on the table. By getting the full and complete information from the debtor, you reduce the likelihood of a broken promise and a bad arrangement or possibly even a non-sufficient funds check. When the debtor knows you can contact him back and knows you understand their financial situation, it's much more likely that they will follow through on their commitment. Often it's tricky to get the debtor to relinquish this information. The use of a second voice can also help you to get this information. If a debtor refuses to give you this information, make sure that you are using a second voice, that you put someone else on the phone that's going to help them to understand the urgency of why they should give this information. Remember, all promises must have full and complete information included, or you've left money on the table. The desired results that you are looking for are not going to be accomplished if you have not received this information from the debtor. If you're not able to get this information from the debtor, then you should be less likely to make a payment arrangement or a settlement offer. So now you see the importance of giving this information from the debtor. Let's talk about how you're going to get this information from the debtor. You're going to have to ask questions in a manner in which the debtor wants to answer them. Often a point blank question is not exactly what you're looking for. You're looking at asking more leading questions, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, let's go ahead and talk about more about what this full and complete information is. Okay, anytime you make a contact with a debtor, you need to make sure to acquire this information, acquire the F&C information. You need to know what the best contact number for that debtor is. You need to be able to know when the best time to call that debtor is. You need to be able to get this debtor back on the line. You need to understand what his reason for delinquency is. This will help you better understand his ability to repay the debt. Once you understand why they owe the debt, then you'll have a better idea of how to help them to get past this. Really what F&C information is, and probing questions to go along with it, is a financial statement. It's helping the debtor do some financial counseling, help them to find ways in which to collect the money. For example, as you ask them what their car payment is, what you may find out is they may answer something like, oh, my car payment is $850 a month. Your first thought is, that's a very high car payment. But what the collector mentality thinks is, okay, I know I can get some money from this debtor right now. I should be able to get $600 or $700 from them after I teach them how to defer their car payment, how to put that car payment off until the end of the loan, pay only an interest payment this month, freeing up $600 or $700 that can be put towards this debt today, getting them to break the cycle of non-payment, to move forward with paying this bill, to change their ideas of whether they can or cannot pay this bill. The full and complete information that you gather from this debtor, as you understand his mortgage, his car payment, what disposable income they may have, then you will find a way. You'll help the debtor find a way to pay the bill. Without this information, if you're taking a payment arrangement or a settlement offer, all you're doing is hoping they'll be able to pay the bill. In this manner, you're not only helping them to make sure the offer that they make is a good, solid offer, it helps you to understand that they're going to be able to actually pay this offer, to make the debt good, to make the payment solid. So let's talk about how you're going to get the information. Once you're able to get this information, you know it's going to lead to cash. You know it's going to lead to a good, solid arrangement. You know you're going to be able to use this information back to help the debtor pay. But how are you going to get them to give you this information? Well, you have to ask questions with specific answers. When communicating with a debtor, it's crucial that you not only ask the proper questions, but also ask them in a way that will help you increase your odds for a favorable outcome. What you do as a collector is you do not want to ask open-ended questions that give the debtor an opportunity to take a stance that he or she does not have the money or the ability to pay. You should instead, as a collector, ask questions which cue the debtor to give you a specific answer, hopefully the one you're counting on to get paid. An example of this would be, so you're telling me that you don't have the money today, is that correct? Maybe I can buy you some time. Do you get paid this Friday or next Friday? Well, this question is giving you the information you're looking for. Is the debtor employed, and when do they get paid? Honestly, you don't care whether they get paid this Friday or next Friday, right? As long as they get paid and you can get some of that money. By asking questions in a logical order, you'll also get the debtor to give you the information you're looking for. You'll increase your ability to get the information from the debtor. You'll learn better how to read that debtor and extract the information from them. Let me give you some other examples of kind of questions you would ask. Are you still at the same banking institution, or have you changed banks? Now, you're assuming they have a bank account. The answer they're going to give you is, I'm at this bank or I'm at that bank. Either way, that's what you're looking for, because eventually you're going to want them to write you a check, either dated today or dated in the future, for some payment towards this account. I show your address is 123 Main Street. How much is your mortgage at that address? You're assuming they have a mortgage. You're assuming they have the availability to borrow against that mortgage. If they don't, they'll quickly tell you. But if you just ask them how much is your rent, you'll never know whether they had a mortgage or not. You need to understand these things. Are you getting paid this Friday or next? We spoke about that. Who pays the household bills, you or your spouse? You're making sure you're talking to the right person. You don't really care who pays the bills. You just want to make sure that someone does, and someone is in a position to speak to you about getting these bills paid. So let's review for a moment. First of all, we've realized the importance of obtaining full and complete information, F&C, from every debtor. To take that financial statement, use that financial statement to make solutions that are going to fit within the debtor's budget and are also going to be solid for you and your client. to make sure that the debtor is going to be able to, at the end of the conversation, sit down and write you a check, sit down and provide cash in your pocket, be able to help them to fill your mailbox full of their checks. This is what you're looking for. But you've got to ask questions in a manner in which they want to answer them. You have to ask leading questions that are going to get you the information you're looking for. They're going to help you find success and avoid failure on that phone call. If you can get the debtor to give you this information, and as you get better at it, you'll be able to do it on every call, you'll find that most calls end with success. These are the types of things that you need to do to become an excellent collector. And this is the kind of things that Lighthouse Consulting to teach you to do. So go out there, practice today. Get this information from every debtor. Remember, if you can't get it yourself, hand it to the person next to you. Use that second voice. Get the full and complete information from the debtor.